This podcast is part of the Shrimp Queen Network.
Visit facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network to see more great podcasts.
Hear them.
Hear more great podcasts.
Good job.
Thanks for listening. Hello. It caught me off guard. Hello, and welcome to some spooky, back to the spookiness.
Not really, just weird.
Generally kind of spooky,
All right, guys,
though.
ready to listen to this?
Cold one. Jess is eating her dinner while we're doing this because she doesn't have time any other time. So
yeah, I gotta go to bed after this. I gotta be up early.
Yep. So that's just what we're going to deal with. It's going to be partially a mukbang if you're into that. And if you're not, it's not going to be that intrusive. So stick around. No, mukbang.
I don't like that.
K-pop. Okay. Just a bit of admin.
Who-pop?
What?
Said who-pop?
K-pop.
You don't even like K-pop.
K from Blade Runner 2049.
No.
Ryan Gosling, the goose. Admin, apologies. Two things about late episodes. So iTunes is weird as fuck, and you have to go in and manually refresh your feed to upload new episodes. So people on iTunes have not gotten an episode in almost a month. Over a month. And there have been episodes, except for 1 week where we took a break for New Year's, and that's it. And also, for some reason, last week's episode did not post when I had scheduled it to post.
I did a really great
and it was one of Jess's best episodes, easily.
So it's super relatable.
That was posted way late.
Rom-coms, god damn it.
Now I'm going to go in and make sure that that's promoed out the wazoo.
And I wrote it in 1 day.
Wow. I wrote this one in 2 days.
So that it gets also while watching a child.
That's very impressive.
So I'm just saying.
So make sure you go back and give that episode some love.
Just a little bit.
And listen to it. It's probably Jess's longest episode.
No, I think my longest one was...
Because it was like about an hour and a half, which is pretty long for both of us.
You drag it out.
No, my longest is only an hour and 50, and that was because I did 20 entries.
It was
the Marvel movies.
Yeah, but that's also you were like running through them. It could have been longer.
This is also my first episode where I have visual aids to show Jess. I'll make sure that most of these pictures are posted, but not in the order that they appear. So, there's still some mystery to it.
Oh my god.
So this is an episode that I've long built up basically since we started this show. I'm finally doing it. My top 10 cryptids. So, what is a cryptid? First off,
I'm
Oxford.
Cold, by the way,
it's fucking freezing where we live. Today it was like 13 degrees, and yesterday was like 6.
With a real feel, -9 because the winds.
The wind chill is terrible.
Love it.
16 degrees or 16 miles per hour.
Thank you. That one.
Miles per hour. Okay.
Thank you.
Because I was say if it was 16, then it'd be nice and warm it up a little bit.
Look. I don't know what to say.
Okay. Oxford's dictionary, that sounds like a terrible start to like a valedictorian speech. Oxford's dictionary defines friendship as or learning or education or teachers. Sorry, a cryptid. We didn't have valedictorians.
But you did find out who you were, like what place you were, if you were in the top like 3.
Yeah, I was like...
The salutatorian or whatever is like the second, right?
I don't know. I think I cracked the top 10. Hashtag top 10.
Our school was so tiny that if
people.
they did like show like the class ranking, I think just it would be painful.
Yeah.
Because everyone knew exactly who everyone was. It wasn't like, I don't know that kid that's in last. It was like, no, you knew them.
Yep. So a cryptid is an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated. They don't need to be supernatural or mythical. It can honestly be like a new breed of fish that some scientists say exists and some scientists say doesn't. That's a cryptid. There are some qualifications, though, and this goes back to when cryptozoology really started to hit it big.
That's a thing?
Yep. It's a pseudoscience.
Get me a major like that?
Like phrenology and that kind of stuff.
What the fuck is that?
Phrenology is
Is that
like
about ferns?
no, phrenology, phrenology. That's the study of like the lumps in your head that like apparently indicate your personality.
Wait, like
You know those diagrams, like you see like the head, they're like bald heads, and they have like sections of the head.
Like literally when you just have like a little like bump on your head, and I was like,
no.
those are usually like cysts and shit, or like just dry spots.
There was a scientific movement in the 1800s that said that
pimple popper,
that those indicated personality traits.
By the way, guys, this podcast does support Dr. Pimple Popper.
One half of it does.
Hell yeah.
There are some other qualifications. It has to be terrestrial, so there's no aliens. And this is more of a personal thing for me. They have never been a human before. So no werewolves, no vampires, ghosts, zombies. They're monsters or supernatural creatures, I would say. This was a very
Frankenstein monster?
Loose ranking. Mostly I ranked them on...
all?
Yeah, on entertainment value of the stories surrounding the creature, cultural impact or fame, believability.
I know one that just got a great movie.
And described behavior / personality of the creature. Who? Slender Man?
No.
It's not a cryptid.
No. I just talked about this with you.
Oh,
Zendaya
God. Okay.
Is Michi.
We'll get to that.
Zendaya is Michi.
I have just 4 honorable mentions. The Mino cow, which is like...
Is that a cow that...
No, it's a
like a
Brazilian giant worm.
Ew.
The thunderbird. The Titanoboa, which was actually a real dinosaur. The largest snake to have ever existed.
No, thanks.
42 inches...
Stop.
42 feet long.
No, thank you.
And like about... this thick, big.
Wow,
thick
they
boy.
can totally see what you're talking about. Give us a.
They're
reference.
very big.
Give us a reference.
There's a famous picture of some guy standing next to like a fake version of it, like at a museum. Anyway, some people think that they are still around.
No thanks.
And the lizard man of Scape or Swamp from South Carolina. The worst he did was he jumped on someone's car and like broke their windshield. And he has a Twitter.
Whether or not something is a cryptid, but I don't want it to like accidentally
and
be
a festival.
on like, your list, you know? I don't think it is.
What?
No, it's an urban legend. So that...
Yeah, no, that's a separate list. That was the other list.
The Jersey Devil. I don't know why.
That's a cryptid.
That's a cryptid?
Yeah, it is a cryptid.
I thought that was just like a myth.
Cryptids can be parts of urban legends, but all urban legends aren't cryptids.
I know. Well, anyway, okay, well.
All right, here we go.
Spoilers, guys. Now I'm assuming.
Number 10, the Loveland Frogmen.
Oh, do you want me to tell you what I was, by the way?
No, we'll get to that about halfway through.
Do you just want me to tell you if it comes up?
Possibly.
And then go,
no, hold on to
it's me. Dan made me make take a
I
quiz.
took it too.
To find out.
I'll put a link in the description of the episode.
Yeah. And he wouldn't let me tell him what I got.
Yeah, I wanted to do it on.
I'm to save the answer.
So the Loveland Frogmen are bipedal humanoid frogmen standing roughly 4 feet tall. They have been known to use sticks and crude tools.
Mr. Toad and Frog?
Here, I'll show you the image I have.
It's just a large frog.
Yeah. And it has this great shirt, which I was literally considering buying, but it wouldn't have been here by the time we recorded, so I didn't.
You can't zoom in.
It's just a gray shirt that says, "I saw the Loveland Frogman," and it has a little picture of a Loveland frog. They're great. So initially sighted in, weirdly enough, Loveland, Ohio in 1955, when a local man reported that he saw 3 frog-like men.
How high was he?
4 feet tall?
No, the man.
Oh, I don't know. 3 frog-like men at the side of the road. They were again sighted on March 3rd, 1972 by a police officer, Ray Shockey. So there was documentation of this. So he saw the creature fully in his headlights as it climbed over the guardrail and towards a river. Because of this, almost every single artist's rendering of the frogman is of a frogman stepping over the side railing of a highway at nighttime, as you can see in the picture that I show you, Jess.
Have provided me with. That's not a drawing, though. That's just a Photoshop.
And it has a nice little scale against how tall he'd be against a human. So it's a very, very bad Photoshop job. It literally just looks like someone took a picture of a frog and then just enlarged it and stuck some animated feet on it.
It has regular feet?
Yeah, look at that.
Those aren't regular
Well, they're
feet,
like frog feet.
Yeah.
They animated feet onto them. Okay. They added that. Anyway, other officers actually saw this same creature 2 weeks later, or believe they did, and shot it. So they took the body and brought it back to the police station for identification by Ray Shockey. And it turns out it was just a really, really big iguana that was missing a tail.
How big was this thing that they shot, though?
It was about like 3 feet long. Iguanas can be really big.
Yeah.
And it just was missing its tail. I imagine it was probably trying to climb over the guardrail, and that's why it looked like it was on its hind legs, because it was probably just climbing up.
I just want to know what was in the water in this town.
The most recent sighting was August 3rd, 2016, when 2 teens out playing Pokemon Go between Loveland Madeira Road and Lake Isabella said they saw a giant frog near the lake that stood up and walked on its hind legs. They've even been the subject of a musical titled Hot Damn, It's the Loveland Frog, with an exclamation mark and everything. So why are they on the list? Why are they number 10? The Loveland Frog is, to me, a perfect cryptid. It's a small town legend that's been blown up around the world, around the country.
Around the country, really?
Yeah, who hasn't heard of the Loveland Frog?
Around the world?
The Loveland Frog, men. I think I sort of love it for how lame it is. It's kind of like the Hufflepuff of cryptids. You're rooting for it to be better than it really is.
Do you want to fight me someday?
It's not threatening.
Get the fuck out of here.
Nor benevolent. It's just sort of living its froggy lifestyle, being illuminated in headlights and climbing over guardrails.
Good for him.
And it has a musical. Like a
Good
fucking musical. Someone wrote it with characters and everything.
You insulted me, so I can't talk to you.
Sorry, it's not the Hufflepuff of cryptids. It's better. Sorry, wait, no. Hufflepuff is better. Ow! 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 Abuse of the knees. All right, number 9, and this is one I think you'll really enjoy.
Me or the people?
You. Number 9 is the British big cats, which includes the Beast of Exmoor, the Beast of Bodmin Moor, and the Galloway Puma. Here I have some...
Galloway or...
Galloway, not Galway. They are also known as the ABCs, or alien big cats, not because they are aliens, but because they're alien to Britain.
I got what you mean.
Phantom cats or mystery cats. They are large felines, think the size of pumas, lions, tigers, that aren't native...
Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my!
That aren't native to Britain, yet still inhabit the British countrysides. The first sightings go back to the 1760s, when William Cobbett, a young boy, saw a cat, and this is his quote, as big as a middle-sized spaniel dog, which honestly... isn't that weird? That seems like it could be just a regular house cat in a tree or
just
something.
A fat boy.
Since then, there have been 1,085 sightings, with the most recent being in 2017, and Devon is the most common county for these sightings. My mom, who is English, even claims that she saw what she described as something far too big to be a normal cat climbing around the trees as a child when I was talking to her about this.
Mm-hmm. I believe your mom, but...
Here, do you want to see some pictures? Oh, sure. God. So, there we go. There's some, if you see it, and then there's also a picture of one there, and right there, just running through the countryside in England. The animals are often recovered are individual cases, so there have actually been British big cats been found, but there's no evidence of a specific breeding species within England yet. Oftentimes, it can be something like a Eurasian lynx, a caracal, a European wildcat, or even a large house cat like a Maine Coon.
Fat boy. Oh, yeah.
Or most commonly, interbred European wildcat house cat mixes are found. So European wildcats are beautiful, but also not that crazy once you think about it. Sorry, I just accidentally closed My list. Oh no.
Fill the silence. Fill the silence. No, with facts. Do you not remember anything you wrote?
Well, that was kind of the end of that. Jess, what are your favorite breeds of cat?
Cat.
Yeah. What do you, if you could see a British big cat, what kind of breed would you want it to look like?
Cat. Any cat.
I don't have a favorite cat. Even like weird hairless cats.
I'll take it. I'll take any cat. Dogs, however, I do have opinions on. Some of them just should not be on this earth.
Are you talking specifically about chihuahuas?
No.
What are you talking about then?
Like a little bit. Those like little like gray ones that you see that like people shave so that they only have fur, like white fur around like their little tail, their little legs, and then on top of their head.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What the fuck is that?
What is that? What the fuck is that?
What is that?
Sorry. Okay, I got my list back up. Here we go. Yes, I know everyone was fucking terrified. Here we go. In 2012, there were reports of a lion roaming Essex. Police searched the area with helicopters and infrared cameras and even brought in big cat experts to no avail. A lady, Miss Murphy, she was cited as in the BBC article I read, actually stated that the lion in the picture that was being circulated was just her pet Maine Coon.
Oh.
Named Teddy Bear.
Teddy Bear.
And so he was like a
people like psychos, not psychos, but like people who have like secretly had pet like lions and shit, and then they try to kill them once they get older.
Well, actually, one instance in 1980 saw the recovery of a puma that was believed to have been an illegal pet that had escaped or been released in the area. The puma, after being caught, was named Felicity and given to the Highland Wildlife Park Zoo. Turns out she was domesticated and was noted to really enjoy being tickled.
Yeah, that shit happens. I mean, like, I love me some cats and some big cats, but guys, they're not, some of them just aren't pets.
One theory of these large cats, if there is a breed of large cats that somehow live in the British Highlands,
secret.
Is that they're a surviving breed that lived through the Ice Age. But it's so weird that an island as small as England an island as small as Great Britain and the UK could have such a dangerous indigenous species that nobody knows about.
Is it said to be dangerous?
Well, large cats are usually aggressive.
I'm just saying. There are no reports of being dangerous.
Why they're on the list?
No, they're cats. They're cool.
Yeah, one of the main contributors to reports surrounding cryptids seems to be people's tendencies to blow things out of proportion, especially when it comes to something that scared them.
Your mom a liar now?
Possibly, i.e., an iguana without a tail being turned into a frogman. That seems to be the case in a lot of the British big cat sightings. It's also strange to think, as I said, an island so small could have such a threatening species living on it that no one has any concrete data or evidence on. It's also really funny to me how someone could freak out over seeing a Maine Coon in the countryside and saying that it was a mythical, huge, enormous creature.
Don't they like shut down the country when it snows?
Yeah.
So like this isn't surprising.
The British are not one to be understated when it comes to things, anything deemed threatening.
Also,
Nevertheless,
I see that like Florida shut down when it snowed. When it was like 53 degrees there recently. And it was like, stay inside if you can. Wear layers and layers. And I was like, it's 6 degrees here and I'm fine.
Nevertheless, I believe in British big cats. They're here to stay, they're here to hunt, and they're here to chase big laser pointers.
But you're still calling your mom a liar.
I ain't calling her a truther. Also, she grew up mostly in Germany, so it would be a German big cat.
What the fuck, man? Number
8. The Mongolian death worm, aka the Olgoi korkoi, or intestine worm in English.
Ew, stop.
I have some images.
Can we skip this one? I don't want to look at this one.
Um,
I'm trying to eat mac and cheese right now, so like I really don't want to look at it. Dan, please
they're
stop.
just paintings.
It's just gross.
They are.
Looks like the one in SpongeBob. Then I've got the picture.
They're blood red worms ranging from 2 to 7 feet long with thick bodies who slither around in the desolate parts of the Gobi Desert. In 1922, Mongolian Prime Minister. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna fucking butcher this. Dam Din Bazar. Oh, actually, it wasn't that bad. Dam Din Bazar.
Couldn't tell you if it was bad or not because I've never heard it.
Described them as, quote, shaped like a sausage about 2 feet long. It has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous that merely touching it means instant death. Their first sightings and subsequent legends started over 1,000 years ago. They can allegedly...
Sorry, guys.
They can allegedly spit corrosive yellow saliva and are usually portrayed as having a circular mouth full of sharp teeth at one end. Mongolian nomads claimed that the death worm would slather its prey with an acidic substance that turns whatever it touches into a corroded yellow sludge, kind of like aliens from Alien.
Gross.
Legends claim that it would start its attack by suddenly bursting its top half from the sand, inflating its body until its goo exploded from within.
I don't want to hear the word goo anymore.
I think we said goo too much on this podcast. This is now the Goo for Goo podcast. Some sightings have been passed off as either being a Tartar sand boa, which is kind of a large snake, or a skink, both of which are reptiles. Skinks are actually pretty cute. They're really, really fat lizards with tiny nubby legs. Mm-hmm. But both of those are, like scaly. They're green.
Yeah, that's just gross.
And of course, there has been a sci-fi original movie about the Mongolian death worm. Why this is on the list? I think what attracts me most about the Mongolian death worm is just how scary and disgusting it's purported to be. Unlike the frogman or a big house cat.
It sounds nasty.
I can't say that I ever want to come into contact with the Mongolian death worm. I wouldn't mind seeing a British big cat. I wouldn't mind seeing a frogman. Actually, I'd prefer to see a frogman if I could in my life. But the Mongolian death worm can get fucked. Its influence on pop culture cannot be overstated, too, as tons of monsters in movies, TVs, and video games owe a lot to the legend of this cryptid, most notably the giant burrowing worms from the Tremors film series and the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob. They are even influenced the wereworms of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit.
What the fuck is a wereworm? Wereworm. And were they in the movies?
No. They're like, something people talk about in the, they like live in distant sands and they're giant worms.
The sands of time.
If they do exist, though, I really want to see Coyote Peterson get bitten by one because the guy who gets stung and bitten by a bunch of weird insects and shit.
Oh my God. Me and Emily would not be entertained.
Now that you're done eating, do you want to say picky?
Stop. It's nasty.
All right.
Why does his mouth do that? Why does his hole do that?
So, out of
really
the three that I've talked about so far, which one would you want to meet?
Just keep going.
All right. I'll ask you again at the end which one you want to see. Number 7, the Jersey Devil. We're on to the big boys, a.k.a. the Leeds Devil. It's said to live in the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey, so quite close to here. It's a flying biped with hooves.
What is a biped?
Something that has 2 feet, walks on 2 feet. Oh yeah, sorry, I should probably explain. Biped, 2 feet, quadruped, 4 feet. Sextiped, 6 feet.
I don't think that would be it.
Uniped, 1 feet. 1 feet.
I think that you could just say 1 feet. 1 foot.
Uniped.
Too big for he goddamn feet.
Triped.
Stop.
Wait, would it be a triped or a tripod?
Can you start again?
Okay. Anyway, that's the most common description. Hooves are always noted, but there are a bunch of variations on what the Jersey Devil allegedly looks like. The common description, this is a quote, is that of a kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a goat or horse-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, cloven hooves, and a forked tail.
Sounds like a great pics.
Guy. Here, this one
Sounds
is
like
probably the
kind of guy
most
you'd want to take home to meet your parents.
the most famous one. I'll definitely post this one. It's a little cartoon from the Philadelphia Inquirer in 1911.
Like I said, sounds like the kind of guy you'd take home to meet your parents.
And then there's another one that was from 2007, and that's a picture someone snapped, allegedly, of
It's
the Jersey
real.
Devil.
I do believe in this one. He keeps Jersey nice and awful.
True. It can move very fast, and when spotted, is said to let out a blood-curdling scream.
Yes.
Kind of like a screaming goat. Maybe it was a goat someone saw once, and it screamed, and it scared them.
No, it's not.
Do you believe? Do you want to believe?
That wasn't a song. That was just noises. What was that? What is that? I don't know what you're singing.
The X-Files.
I don't watch the X-Files.
The legend.
When you said, "Do you want to believe?" I immediately thought of the "You will when you believe." That's what I was thinking.
The legend originates in.
There can be miracles
when you believe.
Very good. Go on.
The legend originates in 1735, when, according to the lore, Jane Leeds became pregnant for the 13th time, and upon finding out, she cursed the child. Yeah, I know. Do you think they know what was causing it? And cursed the child upon finding out. And apparently the devil was like, okay. When the baby was born, it came out looking as described above, killed the midwife, screamed, and flew up the chimney and into the pine barrens.
Hell yeah.
I imagine it kind of like, so the midwife is like standing like in front of it. So like if I were like doing this like as a scene in a movie, I would put the camera behind the midwife and you just hear the scream and the thing just fucking bursts right through her. Just goes clean through.
You should tell your cousin this story. His cousin's a midwife.
And she just like, slumps in half. And
see if she likes this story of yours.
Everyone's
ask her
like
if she's seen
freaking
any
out.
shit like this.
I will. And the lore goes on to state that the Jersey Devil hunted local children forever after this.
That one, not so cool about him. Other traits, sure, but not this trait.
It's also been spotted outside of New Jersey and has been seen in Downingtown and Bristol, Pennsylvania.
Woo-woo.
It has since been sighted regularly and has become a huge staple of American folklore, with the most recent sighting being in 2009.
On the East Coast, though.
Yeah. Sorry, the picture that I
doubt you could be like in
showed you was from 2009.
Alaska and be like, yo, the Jersey Devil? And they'd be like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I feel like most people know about the Jersey Devil. It's like up there.
Yeah, but we say most people because we only know people from this side of the country, really.
In 1820, Napoleon Bonaparte's older brother, Joseph, allegedly spotted the devil while hunting in his estate in New Jersey. The NHL team, the Jersey Devils, is named after it. The New Jersey Devils has appeared in episode 5 of the X-Files of the first season. It's actually the episode with Scully's iconic pink, purple, green jacket that everybody loves, the windbreaker.
You sent me a really weird video from the X-Files, and I feel like he just
let
them
out
in
a bath?
Scream. No, he let out a scream.
Oh, yeah.
Retelling.
Yeah, it was someone was retelling the story about Scully and Mulder.
It just said how he stood there and just screamed.
Yeah, that was way later in the show.
Did Supernatural cover Jersey Devil?
No, actually.
No, they did like the Hook Man, whatever.
Yeah. Castlevania, Order of a
Thunk.
Yeah, there are some that pop up here, and you're like, why the fuck haven't they done that?
But I feel like Jersey Devil is definitely like a.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
has MythBusters debunked this one?
Castlevania, Order of Ecclesia, The Wolf Among Us, Pop Tropica.
The fuck is that?
Pop Tropica.
The fuck is that?
You don't remember Pop Tropica? It was like that website that everybody went on in like elementary and middle school, and you made a little
there at different times.
You made a little avatar, and there were different worlds, and you just walk around. There was a cryptid island, and the Jersey Devil was there.
Because my grade was normal.
American Horror Story.
Dan also told me about how him and his friends, he thought that this was like a common thing, and maybe it is amongst some weird people. Licked batteries as children.
Yes, 9-volt
my
batteries.
Friends didn't do that shit.
You get
Let
a
us
9.
know in the comments.
Don't try this at home. But what we would do is we would get a 9-volt battery, and it has the 2 poles at the top, and you put it on your tongue. My whole grade did it. It was like a cool thing. And when you do it, your whole tongue vibrates.
That's not normal.
Anyway, it appears in the opening titles of American Horror Story Coven and the movie TMNT
that's more like
from
the
2007.
Devil that appears.
No, like that picture that I showed you appears in it.
But it's, okay.
And TMNT from 2007, the animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Why the fuck did it appear in that?
Raphael fights it because like the bad guy summons a bunch of cryptids.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles takes place in Jersey?
New York.
Oh, well then
it's right across
why the fuck is he fighting
Jersey.
him? Right. He's a cool guy.
Why it's on the list.
Take him home to meet your family.
I've got to represent.
Impress your grandma.
I got to represent where I was born somewhere on this list. And the Jersey Devil has always been a big player in cryptozoology.
Doesn't have a cryptid, does it?
It probably does.
But like, not a famous one.
No, not really. I think our most famous would be the Jersey Devil. And is often cited as one of the more commonly known cryptids, and for very good reason. It's an incredibly impressive creature were it to be real. It's kind of counterintuitive, but I would be really cool. It'd be cool to see. It's kind of like a strange flamingo. On top of that, it's utterly terrifying. I mean, imagine running into this thing screaming and flying at you in the middle of the night in fucking New Jersey, of all places.
Why can't I figure out how to spell cryptid right now?
CRY.
There we go. I got it.
Like you're already in New Jersey, which sucks. But then you got attacked and hoofed to death. I will stomp you to death with my hoofs. That's what the Jersey Devil does.
A giant white wolf that was reported in
Oh, yeah.
And there's one thing that says it's like explained, whatever. Okay, sorry, go on.
It also offers a pretty good view into the anxieties of people living in the area in the 1730s, as well as the disdain for the rural population of the Pine Barrens from the upper class folk. Mm-hmm. The devil was an excuse for the upper class to not go into the Pine Barrens at the time, but it actually was kind of a dangerous place, and highway robberies were quite common in that area.
Okay.
Number 6, El Chupacabra. Literal translation, the goat sucker.
It just makes me think of Workaholics.
The Chupacabrage?
Yeah.
The Rancho Cucamonga Chupacabrage.
I miss that show.
Here we go.
Are you okay? Did you lose your place?
No, I was just getting the pictures up.
Can I see the picture?
In a sec, because I have to go through the 2 types of Chupacabra first. Initially, it was spotted in Puerto Rico, actually, which I didn't know. I thought it always started in Mexico. But there have been sightings more commonly in Mexico and the southern U.S., but even as far north as Maine and in other countries such as Russia and the Philippines. So chupacabras get around. As the name suggests, they typically target livestock such as sheep, goats, and chickens. Uh-huh. The first attack / believed sighting was in March of 1995 in Puerto Rico when 8 sheepies were found dead with 3 unique puncture wounds in their chest that drained them of all their blood.
I don't like that. And
there have been more than 2,000 sightings since, most recently in 2013. Chupacabras generally fall into 2 categories, actually, reptilian and canid.
Oh, I would have thought reptilian.
I always thought reptilian.
I never thought reptilian.
Both types are reportedly quite large, being the size of a small bear and having rows of spines protruding from the neck to the base of its tail, if it has a tail. Mm-hmm. The reptile, which is the more commonly known, is leathery and scaly with greenish-gray skin. It has the spines. It's approximately 3 to 4 feet tall. It stands on its back legs and can hop like a kangaroo. Okay. The canid looks like a hairless wild dog with the spines, with pronounced eye sockets, fangs, and claws. Okay. So here's some pics. We got the reptilian at the top, one of the canids, and then a picture which was taken allegedly of one of the canid chupacabras attacking. But it kind of just looks like a sick dog when you look at it with a weird tail.
Stop saying that.
The most common explanation is that people are seeing Mexican hairless dogs, which is a breed of dog, mm-hmm. and coyotes that are infected with mange or scabies, which usually gives them a hairless, gaunt appearance of the chupacabra and makes their skin kind of leathery and gross.
Yeah.
They've appeared in sci-fi original movies such as Chupacabra versus the Alamo,
Hell yeah.
an episode of South Park entitled Jupacabra, Magic the Gathering, Grimm, X-Files, and are mentioned quite a lot in Supernatural, but never are actually hunted.
And, as we previously said,
Workaholics, of course. Why this is on the list. The Chupacabra has had a massive impact on pop culture and the cryptozoology scene, and is one of the most recognizable names for those who don't even follow these kinds of things.
Yeah.
I really like the mythology behind the
One of those things
Chupacabra.
that, like, when I was little, I'm pretty sure I just thought it was, like, real.
Yeah.
And I found out no, and I was like, what?
It's definitely one of the more believable ones, especially the dog version.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, what the fuck do you mean it's not real? I was taught.
I really like the mythology, such as that it comes in multiple forms, denoting genetic variation among breeds. They also come off as probably the most normal cryptid and exhibit pretty normal behavior of non-cryptids, i.e. not naturally being aggressive towards humans, always being on the hunt, etc., just kind of doing their own thing. And also, it's a doggy. That's nice. I like dogs.
What if it ends up being real, but it's the lizardy one? Will you be okay?
It's okay.
Okay.
Halftime cryptid quiz results. Let's do it. Boop, 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 boop. We're halfway through the list.
Do you want me to go first, or you go first?
I will go first, even though my result I technically don't consider a cryptid. I got a skinwalker. My description is, you are a skinwalker. A cryptid primarily described in Navajo legend. You hold the power to transform into your animal form at will. You're a person of great skill and talent, but you don't necessarily always use that skill to benefit others. You would sacrifice a great deal to hold a place of power and importance in the universe. Basically, it's saying that I'm a self-centered furry.
You fuck.
What did you get?
What do you think I got? Like, what? When you look at me, what do you think?
Chupacabra.
No, really?
Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
All right.
I got Nessie. You are the Loch Ness Monster, first coming to popular attention in 1933. You're an aquatic creature who doesn't like to stray too far from your watery home. You're anything but showy, and you would prefer to keep your existence entirely private if possible. However, somewhere deep down, you also seek long-lasting glory and legendary status. So I just want to stay home and do nothing, but I want people to know that I'm out there a little bit.
And be in the bath.
Yeah. I mean,
honestly,
they're not wrong.
I gotta diselagree with this one. There's another one that I identify with more, and it's number one on my list.
Get a selkie because I want to be a seal.
Not a cryptid,
but I want to be a seal.
I guess they maybe could be a cryptid because they're not normally human. They just can turn into a human.
If their skin, they can turn into it, but they are
or
born
human form. So I guess they could qualify
seal,
as a
and
cryptid.
then their skin, if it gets stolen, they're kind of trapped.
I would consider them more of a supernatural creature, and actually my next entry is the most supernatural creature I got.
Was it featured on Supernatural?
Yes.
Early seasons that I would have seen? Okay.
Literally think like episode 2.
Oh, wait, but no, it can't be the one that I'm thinking of because it used to be human. So
in Supernatural, I think it was portrayed as, but it is the Wendigo. But
in a lot of things, it's portrayed as used to be
sometimes
human that ended up feeding on other people, and therefore it turned into this monster.
Let's go into it.
And in Teen Wolf, they're just flat out. They just happen to eat people because they do feature them at one point.
AKA the Wendigo.
Sorry, I said
Wendigo, Wetiko, Wetigo, Wittikau, and Wendigo. It's a cannibalistic monster from Algonquin folklore.
I'm so sorry.
That's native to the northern forests
of the... But is it cannibalistic if it's eating humans and it's technically not human anymore?
I don't know.
Haha. So that's why I said it definitely starts out human.
Sometimes. It depends on the legends. I have different legends here. Forests of the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes of the U.S. and Canada. So I guess a Wendigo could count as a Pennsylvania cryptid. We're in that area. So Basil Johnston, an Ojibwe scholar from Ontario, described it as such. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones, with its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption.
It's trying to be like nice by saying it was like a strange odor, when really it's like, nah, man.
Some legends purport it as a malevolent spirit that has taken on the appearance of a humanoid creature. Some say that they're born as Wendigos, and some say that they were humans taken over by evil spirits like you did.
Because they like ate.
Sometimes a Wendigo can turn humans into Wendigos. Other times a human can be turned into a Wendigo initially if he or she is too greedy. Because Native Americans, that's very much against their way of life. It's not taking too much. Some descriptions and representations show the Wendigo as possessing antlers like an elk, or even the head/skull of an elk. Here's an image. Here you go. Spooky. Definitely the scariest.
The second one was not the head of an elk.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of other version. Bottom line is that it's a cryptid that is commonly associated with murder, insatiable greed, and the cultural taboos against these behaviors. Wendigo psychosis is actually a psychological phenomenon that occurs in cases where humans are cut off from civilization, trapped or stranded, and resort to cannibalism due to having no other source of food or nourishment. But also some other cases purport it as they do have a source, but they're just kind of going crazy and decide to just start eating people.
No thanks.
Including one case where a Navajo, I think it was, man killed and ate his whole family, even though he was only about 25 miles from the nearest food source that he knew was there. It was like a town. And he was executed by his tribe.
Well, yeah.
It was in the 1800s.
I'd say they had the right.
Wendigos have appeared in, as we mentioned, Supernatural, the video game Until Dawn, Pet Sematary, Charmed, Grimm, Hannibal, Fallout, Warcraft, and even Dungeons and Dragons.
And even video games.
I said Until Dawn.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Number 2.
Sorry.
There's also a Marvel character called the Wendigo, and it first appeared in Wolverine's initial appearance in The Incredible Hulk number 162, where the Hulk goes to fight the Wendigo, and Wolverine is defending the Canadian forests, and he's like, "Get out of here, bub."
Ah, that guy.
So that's how Wolverine got onto the scene. He was originally Wolverine was originally just supposed to be a man in a weird suit. Another origin was that he was a actual Wolverine who evolved into a man.
No, thank you.
Those were all
that's just stupid.
Proposed, and then they just eventually went with he is a mutant. And then he joined the X-Men. So why it's on the list? In my opinion, the Wendigo is easily the scariest cryptid out there. Wow! Oh my God, I spelled there wrong.
It's okay, honey.
Its description and
how did you spell it?
Their. Ugh. Shoot me. Its description and behavior are the stuff of nightmares and have contributed greatly to fictionalized monsters such as zombies and vampires. They are entrenched in historically rich and important culture, and unlike a lot of other cryptids, actually come with a societal message and act as a warning against unsavory behaviors. Basically, they're the kind of we live in a society of cryptids.
You're so weird.
That's what someone in a society would say.
All right.
Can gamers rise up? Number 4. This is a good one. The Kraken.
Jesus Christ.
A legendary cephalopod sea monster. Basically the largest and meanest squid ever. Some depictions have the Kraken possessing spikes on its suckers, or even crab-like claws, as well as 8 tentacles.
What about pincers?
Yeah, like pincers. Like coming out the bottom, which I think is scarier.
From his...
Here's some pickies.
I know what
of the beautiful lady.
Like. Oh, it's a she.
I don't know.
I think it's a she.
Most commonly said to live off the coasts of Greenland and Norway. Sightings and its legend originate from 13th century Iceland. It is told that the Kraken swallows men and ships and whales and anything it can find practically whole. It was the explanation for a lot of missing ships and deaths at sea. It's possibly the largest cryptid to ever exist.
Hell yeah.
In fact, in 2012, scientists may have discovered a giant squid that corresponds to the alleged dimensions of the Kraken whilst exploring the deep sea with special lighting that attracted predators.
Can I get a hell yeah?
I can remember that happening and seeing the pictures, and it's like, it is
Scurvy,
fucking
I remember.
huge. Yeah. It's probably the most adapted cryptid ever and has appeared in Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Clash of the Titans, released the Kraken, the Lego Batman movie, Atlantis, Milo's Return, Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3, Hotel Transylvania 3, where it was voiced by Joe Jonas, 20,000
What the fuck was that about?
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, The Call of Cthulhu, because it's kind of a big inspiration for Cthulhu himself.
There he is.
The Wish Song of Shannara.
I don't see him.
He's over farthest on that shelf.
I see him.
I have a little Cthulhu figurine. The Wish Song of Shannara. Did you watch the Shannara Chronicles?
Hell yeah.
So one of the books that was based off of the Kraken appears in.
Oh, hell yeah.
It attacks some elf town or something.
Hey.
It was summoned to attack an
there
elf.
are elves in it.
Artemis Fowl,
Austin
song.
Butler, the main character, is a half elf, half human.
A Song of Ice and Fire. It's the sigil of
Oh yeah,
the Greyjoys.
Greyjoys.
And is said to exist in the seas.
Yes.
And dozens upon dozens of video games, most notably God of War 2. And probably the Clash of the Titans video game, if there is one. Why it's on the list. The Kraken practically helped define a legendary cryptid. I doubt many people don't know what it is
What a
or
Kraken
have
is.
heard of it, especially because of the meme.
What meme?
Release the Kraken
Oh.
with Liam Neeson.
Oh, okay.
It embodies the innate fear almost every person has of open water so deep you can't even begin to see the
I
bottom.
have that one game, Exploding Kittens, and one of the cards, a cat is. It's like
The Catkin
yeah,
or
it's
something
like
like,
a cat
that.
Kraken.
Oh yeah, stop going pee-pee in the ocean.
Yeah, I live here.
As you can probably tell from my listing of fictional works it's appeared in, it's had quite the impression on pop culture over the years as well.
Which number one will be?
Number 3,
Sorry, number 3.
the Loch Ness Monster.
What up? It's me.
Oh
bitch.
boy, this is a biggie,
It's
aka
me, bitch.
Nessie by her friends. According to Scottish folklore, this creature inhabits Loch Ness. Wow, in the Scottish Highlands.
The Loch Ness.
Nessie is described as a sea monster with a large body, sleek blackish gray skin, an elongated neck, dinosaur-like head and tail, and stubby feet or flippers.
Yo, you ever seen that movie Water Horse?
It's on this. Comes up. It's usually described as being approximately 25 feet long and about 4 feet wide, so pretty thick.
Thick.
Most commonly compared to a plesiosaur, but also basilosauruses. First reported sighting was in 565 CE as the life of Saint Columba. Who's Saint Columba?
Can't recall. I learned about that one.
Cites the appearance of a
We didn't
monster,
learn about fictional
okay.
things.
a sea monster. Well, you were at Catholic
you know
school.
what I mean.
Didn't?
No, we learned about the religious shit about it, not what they did.
Oh,
otherwise.
okay.
We didn't learn just their day-to-day shit.
Well, anyway, this text from 565 cites the appearance of a sea monster living in very close proximity to Loch Ness. Most modern sightings started in 1933, as you mentioned, with George Spicer,
picture.
who claimed that the most extraordinary form of animal crossed the road in front of his car heading towards the loch. As you mentioned,
Wiggling her way.
yeah, it must have been really fucking funny. So here are some images. I have the
classic
very
black and white
famous,
one.
that's called the surgeon's photograph that was taken in 1934. It was taken by Robert Kenneth Wilson, a gynecologist.
Episode of Sesame Street, and Bert and Ernie find the Loch Ness monster. But she asks them not to take her picture because she just wants to be left alone to do what she does. And they're like, okay. And then they end up getting a picture, and it's the classic black and white one.
So I guess
Accidentally, and then they erase all the other ones where you actually see her face. Respectful.
so Dr. Robert Kenneth Wilson, who was a gynecologist, just got bored of looking at vaginas and decided to go looking for a sea monster instead.
Nice.
This image is most often discredited as being driftwood, an elephant,
It's not
which would be
driftwood.
just as impressive, an otter.
Let me see it again. Let me stare at it.
It does kind of look like an elephant's trunk, but also
But it's
that would be
not.
pretty
Also, that's
cool
not
if there were an
driftwood.
elephant. Yeah.
Leave her alone.
An otter, a bird, or something being towed by something off screen, like a model.
Off screen?
Actually, the most common explanation is an otter of the Loch Ness Monster.
No, it's a... My God, leave her alone.
In 1993, the Discovery documentary Loch Ness Discovered looked at the raw, uncropped photo and saw that the object often cited as Nessie in the surgeon's photograph was only about 2 to 3 feet long. Much too small.
She was a little baby. She was the baby of the original one.
Okay.
I believe.
Countless searches have turned... Can you believe? Oh, I believe in the Loch Ness Monster. Don't get me wrong.
So that was the baby. I think it's a family.
Countless searches have turned up little to nothing in support of Nessie's existence, and many sightings have proven to be hoaxes, but I believe, damn it.
Can you believe?
Nessie has been featured in tons of stuff, including Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the book, where it's noted that Nessie is actually the world's largest kelpie. Outlander, Monsters, Inc., Scooby-Doo, and the Loch Ness Monster.
In Monsters, Inc.?
One of the monsters that has been exiled is the Loch Ness Monster.
I didn't even think about that. Oh, along with another one that will be mentioned, I assume.
Hopefully. Napoleon Dynamite, where he gives a rousing speech about how scientists tried to blow Nessie out of the water, but she was protected by Scottish Highlands shamans. The Water Horse, as you mentioned.
That movie was cute as fuck.
Doctor Who, The Terror of the Zygons.
Did I see that episode?
No, it's from 1975.
Okay.
Unless you went back. Real Monsters.
Woo-hoo.
The Troop, James Bond Jr., The Simpsons, Jimmy Neutron, Phineas and Ferb, and of course, South Park.
You can also add now Sesame Street.
Sesame Street.
And they confirmed her existence in Sesame Street. And guys, Sesame Street only teaches the truth to children.
Where in South Park, the Loch Ness Monster famously just wants about Tree Fitty.
That's that one?
Yeah. Oh, get out of here, Loch Ness Monster.
That's
the door.
That?
Yeah.
Wow.
Said I'm need about
just
Tree
to think
Fitty.
I've heard you and Avery say that so many times, and I just knew it was South Park, and I never knew it was about the Loch Ness Monster.
Gave him a dollar. She gave him $1. Sorry, that was probably racist.
I think so.
Why she is number 3, but number 1 in Jess's heart. The Loch Ness Monster is practically the face of cryptozoology. Of course she's on the list, and of course she's so high. She's had a profound...
I have to say, of course she's so hot.
I think she's a she, by the way. Do you think it's a she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the picture is of the baby.
She's had a profound effect on pop culture, investigations and research, and Scotland's tourism, most definitely. Also, Nessie is often portrayed as benevolent and non-threatening, which is honestly just kind of a nice change of pace from monsters and the like.
She just chilling.
Also, she looks cool and kind of like a dinosaur, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Is she like the last living?
This one's for you.
Dinosaur?
Some believe that she's the last of her species, which is very sad.
Really sad.
And that they have a secret way of getting out of the loch that no one else has discovered and into the ocean.
Yes, bitch. Okay.
Number 2, Mothman.
Yes.
Everyone.
I would die for Mothman.
As I have my first note, everyone's gay for Mothman. First seen November 12th, 1966, when 5 men preparing a grave for burial in Clendenin, West Virginia, spotted a brown-winged creature taking flight from nearby trees.
Mothman.
They weren't sure what exactly it was, but definitely knew it wasn't a bird. I have some pics. There he is.
The picture of just the super close-up moth. Yes, Mothman. Your sister painted Mothman one night when her and my cousin were having a painting party. That was the choice of the night.
Mothman is a bipedal winged avian humanoid with moth and owl-like traits. He is roughly 7 feet tall. I love guys that are tall.
Guys that are taller than me.
Mothman. What you thinking about, Mothman?
Statue of Liberty. Oh, wait, what is the...
I don't know.
Hey, what are you thinking about?
The Liberty Bell?
No, it's not the Liberty Bell.
Something like that. Has a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet and can fly at speeds over 100 miles per hour.
Hold me with those wings.
He is usually described as dark, with black, brown, or gray, with 2 large red eyes. These eyes are either reflective or glow in the dark. There is conflicting. Those who see Mothman usually end up suffering from extreme anxiety or fear and psychological
Not this
distress
gal.
for some time after. This is a quote from the Cryptid wiki. Shout out to them. They were a big source, and regular Wikipedia and YouTube. This is the quote. He can fold his wings and walk with a weird shuffle that many witnesses compare to a penguin.
He waddles?
Yes. Mothman was spotted 3 days later, back to 1966.
He's the bad boy that you can't take home to your parents.
By two young couples from Point Pleasant, Virginia, who saw a very large gray flying creature with eyes glowing red. Similar sightings were reported for a while after, and on December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people. Many linked Mothman's presence to the collapse. It is disputed whether he caused the collapse or was trying to actually warn the public of its impending occurrence. The story was adapted.
I think he's here to save us all.
The story was adapted into The Mothman Prophecies, a book written by John Keel in 1975, and was later adapted into a film of the same name starring Richard Gere in 2003. Mothman has appeared in his own sci-fi original film, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, Shin Megami Tensei, a anime. There's a BuzzFeed Unsolved episode on him. He appears in Fallout 76, Monster Quest, and multiple books. Also, be sure to check out the Do Go On episode about Mothman, and they also do an episode on the Loch Ness Monster, which is pretty damn funny.
Question.
Yes.
It's not about Mothman.
I don't want to hear
Are
it.
kaijus extraterrestrial cryptids?
It's...
Or no, because there's
It
never been
depends on the
sightings, it's just
origin. Like,
stories.
Godzilla would be a terrestrial one, but Mothra is not. I don't think Mothra is an alien.
That's why I thought of it, because moth.
Yeah. As is like a lot of kaijus come from space, and like
Okay, that's what I
Godzilla
thought.
is either like the defender of Earth.
So when he was here.
If it's just a Godzilla movie, he's usually attacking.
What
But if
about
there's another animal,
King Kong.
he's usually the defender of the Earth because he's from the Earth.
What about King Kong?
King Kong would be a cryptid, I guess.
Oh my
As
god.
would be Godzilla.
I know what your number one is. Am I right?
The most common explanation for Mothman is that people are actually seeing very large barred owls or albino owls who have very reflective eyes that can appear red.
That's false. Those reports are false.
Since 2002, every third weekend in September, Point Pleasant, West Virginia holds a Mothman festival. The town has embraced Mothman greatly
Honey, why have you never taken me to that for my birthday?
with a statue and museum dedicated to the cryptid.
You've never taken me there for my birthday, and my birthday is
Here's
end
the
of
picture
September. What the fuck?
of the statue of Mothman
Oh
in
God,
Point
his
Pleasant,
wings
West
look too
Virginia.
Beautiful though. They're supposed to be
I want to go. Like they like go
that's why
all
I'm
out.
dead
There's like
serious
a Mothman. There's the Mothman Museum. They have like Mothman special
mascot?
donuts, mascots, performances,
Careful.
everything.
All the shit.
Face paints. Only Mothman.
All right. Anyway,
Balloons. Mothman.
what's your number?
I'm not done.
You're not done with Mothman?
He is number 2 for a reason. He's transcended his status as just a cryptid and has verged onto meme territory in some
Also,
sects of the internet.
Everyone believes in him.
While the moth lamp meme from last year wasn't about Mothman specifically,
Excuse me, guys.
he did contribute, and I did see some actual Mothman ones. There's no reason for him to really be as popular as he is, and that gives Mothman sort of an underdog vibe that you root for. Also,
never
if
been
he is a prophetic cryptid trying to warn people of bad things, then good on him. He's fast, he's big, he's my son, he is Mothman. Number 1,
Zendaya
Burger
is
King
Michi.
foot lettuce. Sorry.
Zendaya is Michi.
Bigfoot, Sasquatches, and Yetis.
Yay!
I put Yetis in here as they're definitely kind of in the same vein as
They
Bigfoot. I consider them probably just a different breed. So, starting with Bigfoot / Sasquatches. From North American folklore, a large, hairy, upright, ape-like creature that dwells in the wilderness of the U.S. and Canada, most commonly associated with the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, California, North Dakota, those kinds of areas. Well, I don't think North Dakota
But
is
they
Pacific.
actually live in like Antarctica.
Bigfoots are North American. Sasquatch is North American. Muscular, bipedal, approximately 6 to 9 feet tall, covered in black or dark brown hair. As his name would suggest, he has feet that are allegedly 24 inches long and about 8 inches wide.
How tall is he?
6 to 9 feet tall.
Thank you.
Many cultures within and outside North America have creatures similar to the Sasquatch, and Bigfoot's existence definitely predates and all recorded sightings or even the name Bigfoot. Do you want some pictures? Here.
Sure.
So
if it's not Michi, then I don't
here we
want
go.
it.
That's Bigfoot right there. There's like the famous pic of him.
Michi. Where's my Bigfoot?
That's coming later.
I don't remember any of the other names from that movie.
Gwangi. Dorgle.
These don't sound right.
Stonekeeper.
I watched this movie with the children that I watched.
Zendaya is
on
Michi.
Friday.
LeBron James is Gwangi.
So they wanted to watch a new movie, so we rented it. And I honestly, I couldn't tell.
Danny
What
DeVito
happened? Danny DeVito played
Dorgle.
Played Channing Tatum's dad.
Common is Stonekeeper.
I did know that.
And Zendaya is Michi.
Zendaya is Michi.
And Gina Rodriguez is...
She's in the...
Kolka. There you go.
I tell you. I can only tell you.
One of the earliest sightings of Bigfoot, and this was noted on the site by a white man, so that means that it's real all of a sudden, was in 1811 when fur trader David Thompson saw the creature in Jasper, Alberta, Canada. In 1924, Professor Albert Ostman claimed to have been abducted by a family of Sasquatches in British Columbia and lived for 3 weeks until he was able to drug the father and escape.
He drug it.
I don't know, with like tobacco or something.
That doesn't sound right.
I don't know. In
The tobacco was really
1967,
cocaine.
Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin recorded the famous...
Sorry, Roger Patterson?
Yeah.
Is this really Robert Pattinson?
Anyway, the famous Patterson-Gimlin film in Bluff Creek, California on October 20th.
Oh.
This is 1967. Patterson and Gimlin proved the authenticity of their film by showing it to experts and even with the special effects department at Universal Studios, who said, "We could try faking it, but we would have to create a completely new system of artificial muscles and find an actor who could be trained to walk like that.
Excuse me.
It might be done, but we would have to say that it would be almost impossible." That's the famous
now who could act like that.
That's the famous, video of Bigfoot doing the walk, and then he looks over and then he just keeps walking.
Yeah.
Bigfoot has appeared in tons of video games, movies, TV shows, books, comics, songs, and even plays.
Him being in Monsters Inc.
These include Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Harry and the Hendersons, a Goofy movie, Sasquatch the Musical, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, The Sasquatch Gang, which is a great underrated movie. It has Justin Long. It has Peter Pan in it. It's fantastic. I think it has Carl Weathers as well.
You need to call him something other than Peter Pan.
Jeremy Sumpter.
There you go.
He also appears in
There's
TMNT.
several Peter Pans.
Bigfoot appears in TMNT.
You could also call him, what else? JD McCoy. Come on,
He
man.
appears in all 3 Hotel Transylvanias, Castlevania, Red Dead Redemption, The Simpsons, iCarly, How I Met Your Mother, Back at the Barnyard, The A-Team, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dexter's Laboratory, The Powerpuff Girls, Pop Tropica again, Assassin's Creed 3, GTA 5, and The Sims 2. I also have a diagram
and
of...
Smallfoot.
That's a Yeti.
No.
Sasquatch sightings in the U.S. and Canada.
Damn, the whole thing is that there's it's Smallfoot and Bigfoot. That's why it's fucking called Smallfoot.
That's
but in
funny.
that, Yetis and Bigfoots are just the same.
Yeah, I consider them very similar.
That's what I'm saying, and you didn't name it.
Yeti, a.k.a. the Abominable Snowman. Very similar to Bigfoot, save for the fact that it is usually described as having white or gray fur and inhabits the Himalayan and Siberian regions of East Asia. The Yeti's existence dates...
Sorry, I just remember that they're in the 3rd Mummy movie. Yetis. And it was bad.
It dates back to pre-Buddhist beliefs of the Himalayan people. The first modern sighting came in 1832 when James Prinsep saw a, quote, tall bipedal creature covered with long dark hair in northern Nepal. In 1954, an exhibition team found what they believed to be a Yeti scalp in the Panbosh Monastery. The hairs could not be identified as belonging to any known animal at the time, but experts actually believe the scalp came from a hoofed animal and not ape-like, like an ape-like mammal. So, the Jersey Devil with its hooves.
Went to Nepal.
He was visiting Bigfoot. In 1960, Sir Edmund Hillary, sponsored by the World Book Encyclopedia Company of Chicago. Now, Sir Edmund Hillary is a pretty famous explorer. Set off on a famous expedition in Nepal to find a Yeti. Hillary died on January 11th, 2008 at age 88 with no concrete proof yet. Some believe that a Yeti is responsible for the deaths of the 9 hikers of the Dyatlov Pass in 1959. That's the famous incident where 9 people went out. They were all students, pretty experienced hikers, all had lived in it. This was in Siberia, I believe, lived in that kind of climate for their whole lives. Yet all 9 of them were found dead in the snow. Some of them naked, some of them with skulls crushed, that kind of stuff. It's pretty fucked up. Look into it.
No, thank you.
I think they were mentioned. That might have been an honorable mention on my unsolved murders list.
Anyway.
Or unsolved deaths.
Anyway.
Yetis have appeared in many forms of media, including Tintin, Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom, Monsters, Inc., Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which terrified the fuck out of me, the Lego Movie.
The Yeti in that?
Yeah, scared me so much when I was a kid. The way it was animated just looked so unnatural.
That's what scared you?
That's what scared. Okay, so when I was a kid, I had this huge window next to my armoire where I would get changed at night into my pajamas.
Did you think he was just gonna?
And I thought he was just gonna be peeking over one day. I was fucking terrified of him. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves.
That just shocked me when I remembered that
They're too cute looking. Like their faces are too pretty to be a Yeti. That's what I remember about
pretty.
that.
I'm going to look up a picture of those.
Far Cry 4 and, of course, Smallfoot. In parentheses, Zendaya's Michi. Why they're number 1. Along with Nessie, Bigfoot and Yetis are the face of cryptozoology. Out of all the cryptids out there, I believe these two... I believe in these two the most, as they don't seem too crazy from the truth. Also, if they are real, their temperaments seem to be very gentle and non-confrontational, and I really appreciate that.
They were pretty cute.
They generally seem to just want nothing to do with humans and just kind of go off and do their own thing. And I relate to a hairy humanoid inhabiting North America, exactly, that sometimes just wants to be left alone and is also sometimes recorded walking weirdly from one place to another. And some believe that they could be the missing link in evolution. And I think that puts them right at the top, because that would mean that they're related to us.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I also have a picture of some Yetis, if you want to see that. There we go.
Nice.
This one walking through the snow.
Nice.
So that is my list of my top 10 cryptids out there right now, in your yard, in your house.
No, they're not here.
So, which is your favorite? Which one do you want to see?
I'll take the Loch Ness Monster for $3.
So, the Loch Ness Monster, which one do you not want to see? Which one would scare you the most? The Mongolian death worm?
That fucker.
7
foot. It wouldn't scare me. It would just make me vomit and cover every hole in my body because I'm scared of that shit.
You think it would go into you?
No, I'm just scared of squiggly things. I'm just convinced that they go in holes and shit and they scare me.
This sounds like
a problem.
Like a psychological deep dive we could go into.
No, I think it's honestly ever since you had me watch Evil Dead.
Oh, the remake?
Sure. No, even the first one.
There's no squiggly things that go into any holes in
the
there.
Trees and shit.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You should not watch Jason Goes to Hell the Final Friday then, because that's the one where Jason turns into a weird worm thing and infects people by crawling into their mouths and shit.
Pretty sure you did make me watch that.
No, I haven't even. I would not make anybody watch that movie. Yeah. It's so bad. I sat through it once and not since.
This fun episode turned out being Jess needs help. She has problems. Thanks, Dan. You're not like... Ugh, maybe that's why I hate... That's one of the reasons why I hate snakes. Oh, God.
Have you ever touched a snake? Because they're not slimy or anything.
It doesn't have to do with the touch or anything. It's them and the way that they move. You ever seen a snake move sideways? It's fucking weird.
Yeah, they're sidewinders.
It's weird.
Have you ever seen a snake try to move on silk? Because that's really funny.
Yes, and I hate
just
it
don't
even
move.
more.
Oh, snakes are generally pretty nice.
I hate things that are that long and move. That's it. That's the end of the episode, guys.
Well, be sure to let us know what cryptids you like, and if we have missed any, be sure to let me know as well. Thank you for listening to this episode of 10 for 10. Be sure to leave it a good review on iTunes or Spotify if you can do that.
Fear.
What, you think it's like
it's a natural fear.
Like an innate thing, like in the human brain to be scared of snakes?
No.
And slithery things?
Slithery things. It's a normal fear.
True, could be like, like caveman brain.
By the way. What?
Like caveman brain, like people.
I don't want to kill them. I just don't like them.
Oh, no. Like why people are afraid of the dark and slithery things and whatnot is because our ancient ancestors.
So don't make fun of my fear and having to like cover just every orifice.
I think the Mongolian deathworm is way too big to go in an orifice of yours. They're thick, like real thick.
And it wants to put me in his orifice. I don't know.
Ew.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of a movie with that, like it's in my head of like something like that. Yeah.
In Sabrina, there's something that's similar to the way that you were describing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an inspiration for a lot of stuff, but I'm trying to just think of it. Maybe it could be the thing that I'm thinking of, because like they kind of give off that vibe with like the big gross mouths and shit. Anyway, sorry, sidetracked. Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to follow us on Spotify and iTunes and Podbean and wherever. Leave us a good review and we'll give you a shout out. Be sure to like us on Facebook. We're at 10 for 10 Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at 10 for 10 Pod. Email us 10 for 10 Pod
snake worm demon thing
at gmail.com with suggestions for episodes or feedback, or if you just want to say hi, what's up.
That too.
Yeah. Have I missed anything?
Did you tell them that you love them?
I love Mothman. I love Bigfoot.
The people listening.
I love you. I want to go find the Jersey Devil. I want to believe, and I believe. I'm kind of like...
I believe.
This is something we're very much on the same page about. There's no Mulder and Scully here. We're both pretty into the cryptids and belief. Yeah. I want to go to Mothman Festival for your birthday if you're down for it.
Yo, hell yeah.
It's kind of close to us. I mean, it'd be a bit of a drive. Get a hotel in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Happy birthday to me.
We'll watch the Mothman Prophecies with Richard Gere. All right. Thank you for listening to this episode.
Love you.
Love ya.
Bye. This podcast is part of the Shrimp Queen Network.
Visit facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network to see more great podcasts.
Hear them.
Hear more great podcasts.
Good job.
Thanks for listening.